when that spirit says do. You got to do when that spirit says do. Do when that spirit says do. You got to do when the spirit says do. You got to do when the spirit says do. When the spirit says do, you got to do. Oh Lord, you got to do when the spirit says do. 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 You got to sing when that spirit says sing. Sing when the spirit says sing. You got to sing when that spirit says sing. Sing, sing, sing. When the spirit says sing, you got to sing. Oh Lord, you got to sing when the spirit says sing. 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 Spirit says sing.
You got to groove when the spirit says groove.
You gotta be grooving, you gotta be grooving.
You got to groove when the spirit says groove.
You have got to groove.
When the spirit says groove, you've got to groove, oh Lord. You've got to groove when the spirit says groove.
Says groove.
Spirit says groove. Spirit says groove. Spirit says groove. Spirit says groove. Spirit says groove. Spirit says groove.
You got to rock when the spirit says rock. You got to rock when the spirit says rock. When the spirit says rock, you got to rock, oh Lord. You got to rock when the spirit says rock. 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 Spirit says rock.
Check it. Yo, I had the call before I walk and now I do the 1-2 step. I heard the spirit and it said the groove, yeah. That's why I do my own shuffle, tapping feet, clapping hands. If you could talk, you could sing. If you could walk, you could dance. Spirit told me bless the track with the vocals, and I come around your city rocking with the locals. Fading out, got my eyes closed. I think the Lord talking to me, gotta get up all in my zone. Candle gazing after doing kundalini. I wrote it in my journal, trying to find the true meaning. It ain't gonna happen overnight, I really ain't stressing. I'ma get the blessing. I don't need Google directions, I just follow spirit. I think I start to hear it. The elders talk about alignment, I just start to get near it. Walk along the path, with it without a clue. When the spirit says do, I make it do what it do. Come on.
Do when the spirit says do.
Oh yeah.
You got to do.
Y'all know what it's like when the spirit says do. I mean, you just gotta do what it do. I know right now with some spirit talking to you inside and it's telling you to do something. And whatever that is, go with it, alright? Spirit says do. Spirit says do. Spirit says do. And you know what? I'ma do what I do. You go ahead and do what you do. And that's how we gonna do what we do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, baby. Hey, 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 hey.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation at Montclair. My name is Marcus Greyhawk. I'm the Director of Music Ministries, and my pronouns are he, him, and his. It is good to be with you. If you're watching this live, we invite you to write your name in the chat and maybe even share your location, especially if you are tuning in for the first time or from somewhere that's further away. In a moment, we're going to light our chalice like we do at the beginning of every worship service. And if you want to do the same in your home and you don't have a chalice handy, then just find a candle or something else and that'll work just fine. But first, let's sing a couple of hymns together. Our hymn leader is Loris Greyhawk.
Soon the day will arrive when we will be together, and no longer will we live in fear. And the children will smile without wondering whether on the day thunder clouds will appear. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Some have dreamed, some have died to make a bright tomorrow, and our vision remains in our hearts. Now the torch must be passed with new hope, not in sorrow, and a promise to make a new start. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. I asked my sibling, come go with me. I asked my sibling, come and go with me. I asked my sibling, come and go with me. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. I'm on my way, and I won't turn back. I'm on my way, and I won't turn back. I'm on my way, and I won't turn back. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my
Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever age, identity, history, ability, gender, sexual orientation, or political affiliation. You are welcome to bring your full self here. Grounded in faith, we come together to nurture the soul, inspire hope, and bring into being a more just and loving world. My name is Intern Minister Antonia. My pronouns are Z, Zer, and Zers, and I am so glad you are here. If you're joining us at 9:30, please continue with us for our virtual connection cafe beginning at 10:30. Check your email and realm announcements for the Zoom link. And today I have a special message about our pledge drive. This is the annual drive we do to raise the funds that we pay our staff, maintain our building, and ensure our ministries of justice and love. When the COVID crisis hit, we suspended our pledge drive, but it is necessary that it begin again. Our pledge team will be reaching out to all of our members that have not yet pledged. If you are unable to pledge at this time, please let them know. They will honor and respect your truth. If you are able to pledge, please connect with them. We need you.
Hello, I'm Reverend Anya Sandler-Michael. My pronouns are she, her, and hers.
And I'm Reverend Scott Sandler-Michael. My pronouns he, him, and his.
Member of our congregation, Claudine Ohayon Moore, shared this. Today, I am finding it very difficult to tolerate the suffering. I am finding it nearly impossible to accept the grief. I am overwhelmed by the not knowing. I resonate with her words. Perhaps you do as well. In these times, it is essential that we speak the truth of our hearts, no matter how hard it is, even for our own ears to hear it. It is essential that we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to share the pain that we are moving through, so that we can be heard and held by those that love us. It is essential that we speak our truth, that we be with one another in this shared grief, because that is how we get through this together. And that's exactly what we are doing. It's time for us to light our collective chalices, to bring light to that beacon of hope that will carry us through these troubling times. Please, if you're at home and have a chalice, a candle, anything you can illumine, join us by lighting your chalice and sharing our affirmation words. Let us open our eyes to see what is beautiful. Let us open our minds to learn what is true. And let us open our hearts to love one another.
Pray for me. Pray for me. Pray for me, oh my soul.
pray, speak comfort. We enter into this space of depth, each as we are called, finding a soft meditation, a deep reflection, an ardent prayer, each as we are called, and yet somehow all together, even now, even in this space. And we enter into this by hearing the requests, the remembrances, the lamentations of our community. Let us hear one another to heal one another. Sue Raufer lights a candle of peace for Donald Ellison, grandfather of Leanne and Christy. He died at the age of 95 of complications from COVID-19. The Matthews and McGowan family light a candle of healing for our country in the light of the Ahmaud Arbery murder. And we hope that no Black or brown man ever has to be concerned about jogging while Black again. Allison Price Rom lights a candle in memory of her mother, Julie Breck, who died peacefully on May 3rd due to complications of dementia. Despite her illness, Julie enjoyed seeing her family and viewing the New York City skyline. She was loved by all and will be greatly missed. David Smock and Kathy Smock light a candle and ask that we remember Dave Smock, David's father, who passed away last Saturday at the Morristown Memorial Hospital. Dave was recovering from COVID-19 when he had a heart attack. Please hold the Smock family in your thoughts and care. Matt Brown and Annalise Sheffrin light a candle of light, love, and healing for their daughter Beatrix. She is working through a dark and difficult time. May this little light be one of many to help her find her way through. Patrick Preblick lights a candle of sorrow for the family of Officer Charles Roberts, who died of complications from COVID-19. He leaves a giant hole in our hearts and in our community. Please send your love and strength to the Roberts family. Wendy McNeil lights a candle for Alice Gibson, who she once served with on the Arts Council of the Essex area. She had been full of energy and life. Wendy shares, COVID-19 is taking so many wonderful people. The Crafton family light a candle for their dear friend, Rich Meaton, who has been diagnosed with glioblastoma in his brain. He remains upbeat but carries great anxiety for his beloved wife, Gaina, through this process. Treatments begin next week. Amy Brabson lights a candle of healing for her mother, Annie Brabson, and all of the residents in our memory care unit. Annie has tested positive for COVID, as have all but one of the residents. Please keep them in your prayers. We light a candle of joy and prayer for Wayne Foti. Today is his 67th birthday. This last candle is lit for all the sorrows left unspoken. In the space of silence that follows, you're welcome to softly share the names of those you hold in your heart and your prayers. We hold this silence, and this silence holds us. God of our understanding, Spirit of life, love abounding still. We begin with lament. Lament. Lament for the killings in the Afghan capital of Kabul. Lament for the killing of Breonna Taylor by police in Louisville. Lament for the incredible losses to communities of color, to our Black and brown kin and neighbors. Lament for the COVID deaths in jails and detention centers and nursing homes. Our grief is incredible and overwhelming. We move through it like mud. Lament for all the sadness that we are holding day in and day out as we move through these incredible and strange times. Lament, sadness, our truth overwhelming. And we move from lament to ask for release and for deliverance. Release for our souls held in this strange cage of unknowing. Deliverance from the pain of these days. Deliverance for our friends who are suffering. Deliverance for our dear ones who are encased in their grief. Deliverance for our world that is showing itself to us as an unjust system that we are at odds with, that we are confounded by. Deliverance for our world, for our people, for ourselves, for our souls. And yet somehow in this prayer, in this space, we can move from lament and deliverance to gratitude and praise. Gratitude for all those who are reaching out to care for one another. Gratitude for this earth that spins but holds us still and steady. Gratitude for the spaces between us that feel somehow less when we reach out with love. Gratitude for the sounds of the earth, the birds chirping, the sun that rises, the rain that falls. Gratitude for the day that comes after night. Gratitude for the joy that we feel somehow still in the depths of our souls in moments. And praise to the holy of our understanding that finds us in the depths of our despair and brings us out with gifts of deliverance. These words from Sarah York. We receive fragments of holiness, glimpses of eternity, brief moments of insight. Let us gather them up for the precious gifts that they are, and renewed by their grace, move boldly into the unknown. My people, my dear ones, you are loved, and there are fragments of grace and holiness that hold us. Reach out to them. Find them when you need. Blessed be, Amen. May it be so.
Before you open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you could not find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Push yourself and words unspoken. Live your life with heart wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. I break traditions. Sometimes my tries are outside the lines. Yeah, we've been conditioned to not make mistakes, but I can't live that way. Oh, staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window. Let the sun illuminate the words that you could not find. Reaching for something in the distance, begins. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Put yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window. Let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Put yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Put yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. The rest is still unwritten. The rest is still unwritten. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten.
A reading from the Reverend Teresa I. Soto. Prevail, an etymology. No one knows everything, even though some people wisecrack like they do. You could not know before right now what this moment would call for. Knowing, you now move toward greater strength. Knowing, this very moment you teach yourself and your communities what and how we shall be more able, not simply to survive the day, but also to take the future back in your own hard-working hands, our communal resistance and possession. You will prevail if you commit. Doing the next thing because it is next. Moving toward greater strength. Building the skills it takes to heal the aching world.
The news has been haunting my waking and sleeping hours. There's so many things wrong in the world. Every day, there are new reports of the horrible ways that people treat other people. Articles about how the systems in which we live are built to kill and commodify some of us, and to trick others of us into thinking that a good life is lived in robbing the planet and preying on its people. The news tells us what has happened, what is happening, and if you watch the pundits, what might happen. It trains us to pay rapt attention to the big issues. It asks us to look away from the micro-level problems, those tiny problematic parts of life that make these other macro-level problems possible. You see, the news, it transports us to a specific destination. It just happens that more often than not, that destination is at the intersection of evil and suffering. The news wants us to wake up, drink our coffee, and live at their destination. It doesn't speak of the underlying factors that got us there. It could care less about the journey, which is problematic. The journey is a roadmap of where we have been. A good map not only marks the large structures on your path, it also marks places that may be an alternate route. That's where things become tricky. If your roadmap is only marked with headlines and disturbing images, it becomes effortless to think that the world is a place that is evil and destructive, And I don't know about you, but that's too much for me to hear, too much to bear. That's when I want to cover my eyes and stop up my ears and turn my head away. Except I can't turn away. My UU values won't let me. My faith in our interdependence won't let me. My belief in the worthiness of us all won't let me. My belief in equity and compassion for human relationships won't let me, so I'm trapped at this destination. Or so I think. One thing about the news in these times is that there's an abundance of sources to choose from. With one click of the mouse, one turn of the station, and one flip of the paper, I can find a new perspective, although it's still a destination. In that fresh perspective, I may even find the faint traces of a journey, and that journey is what I'm focusing on today. I was indoctrinated early in this idea of destination living. What do you want to be when you grow up? How many times have you been asked or asked someone else that question? We think that we're asking about the journey, yet what we're doing is plotting large destinations. When I was very young, I wanted to be a bartender. That one doesn't sit well with people. It's hard to stare at a 5-year-old and set a map full of destinations for that profession. All of those destinations, they're reserved for adults, or so most people think. So when I was asked this question in school, you can imagine how well that went over. There were no coloring sheets for a bartender. They would ask the question, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I would say, "I want to be a bartender." This went on for weeks. I would be given a different coloring sheet, suggestions for things I could be: a doctor, a lawyer, a mommy, a teacher. No. I wouldn't color them. Of course, I'd get in trouble. No recess for me until I colored the picture. It seemed that my roadmap was only leading to a land with no recess and no occupation. I wasn't sold on the idea of school in the first place. Home seemed a fine place for me to learn, and every day my mom cajoled me into going to school, and every day I came home frustrated. Finally, I used the power that I had. I told on that teacher to my mommy. With the determination that had welled up inside of me and the righteousness that I felt about being told that I couldn't be a bartender, I let it all pour out. My mom listened. She didn't tell me that I couldn't be a bartender. She asked a curious question. "Why do you want to be a bartender?" Not in a judging way, in a curious way. As a parent, I can see how that simple question covered a myriad of confusions and anxieties that she must have been feeling. How had I even heard of bartenders? Who told me about alcohol? You see, my mom didn't drink, so I can imagine her surprise that her youngest child wanted to make their living in bars. I answered as if it was apparent. I want to be a bartender because on TV, that's where the people go to talk about their problems. Bartenders help people. I want to be like them and help people. And there it was. My mom congratulated me on wanting to help people. She explained to me all of the duties of bartending. She told me about other professions that help people. And when she finished, I decided that maybe I could be a bartender and something else, like a psychologist. She agreed. And then she told me that what I wanted to be was not as important as who I was and how I lived. Of course, a kindergartner, I didn't understand how profound and freeing that advice was. I was just happy that when I got to school, I'd be able to go to recess because I would be able to color the psychologist paper. The next day I went to school prepared to have a coloring sheet in my future for something that I actually wanted to be. Eventually the day came. The teacher asked me and I raised my hand. She asked the class. She skipped me until there was no one else to call on. I told her, I want to be a bartender and a psychologist. She was surprised, and then she beamed at me. That is an excellent thing to want to be. A psychologist is a worthy profession. I waited for her to give me the coloring sheet for a psychologist. But all she gave me was a blank piece of paper. Because, guess what? There were no coloring sheets for the psychologist either. She told me to draw myself as a psychologist. I did, and I was rewarded with recess. She even hung my picture in the classroom with the word psychologist above it. In those exchanges with adults, I learned lessons that I'm still unpacking today. My mother helped me to step back from the destination to ask a clarifying question. With that question, she gave me the tools to plot a journey. And my teacher taught me how uncomfortable the world is when people don't fit inside the box that they have decided for you. She also gave me my first opportunity to stand steadfast in my values. I will not be forced into coloring my world in the pictures that you choose. In those first weeks of my formal education, I learned that the journey could be plotted with curious questions, and the destination can change with a blank piece of paper. We are unwritten. There's always another sheet of paper to plot your journey. Your destination is to be who you are and to live into your values. When you do this, there's always a blank piece of paper, and all the roads become open for your journeying.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah. 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 Oh yeah, yeah.
Whoa, yeah, yeah. We are going. We are journeying to a place within ourselves. It can be complicated. We can feel lost, yet we still need to go. Going within helps us to live our faith. As Unitarian Universalists, one thing that we value is the interdependent web of life. This interdependence relies on us giving of our time, our talents, and our resources. When you give monetarily to the U, 80% of your gifts will care for the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Montclair, and 20% will support our justice recipient. In the light of the pandemic, Sharing Our Riches team has selected the Newark Emergency Services for Families, NESF. NESF is a nonprofit organization which has served the greater Essex County community for over 40 years. It provides quality services to individuals and families who need assistance with emergency housing, food, shelter, utilities, rent, and basic necessities during times of crisis. The homeless, the working poor, seniors, duly diagnosed people, incarcerated people, people affected by fire, eviction, or domestic violence are our primary focus. You can text GIVE, mail us a check, or go to our homepage and click on the donate button. This is a time of need. All of your gifts are worthy, and they are all received with love. May we remember that we have the agency to reject that which is not our truth, to embrace our own path, and to pause to enjoy the journey. May it be so. Please say this with me. We receive fragments of holiness, glimpses of eternity, brief moments of insight. Let us gather them up for the precious gifts that they are, and renewed by their grace, move boldly into the unknown.
Our worship has ended. Let our service begin. Go in peace. Go in joy. Go in love.
Until we meet again,
Virtually or otherwise,
you are in our hearts.
Do when that spirit says do. You got to do when that spirit says do. Do 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 do. Do when that spirit says do. You got to do when the spirit says do. You got to do when the spirit says do. When the spirit says do, you got to do. Oh Lord, you got to do when the spirit says do. 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 You got to sing when that spirit says sing.
Sing when the spirit
You got to
says
sing when that spirit says
Sing, sing, sing.
When the spirit says sing, you got to sing. Oh Lord, you got to sing when the spirit says sing. 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 Spirit says sing.
You got to groove when the spirit says groove.
You gotta be grooving, you gotta be
You've
grooving.
got to groove when the spirit says groove.
You have got to groove.
When the spirit says groove, you've got to groove, oh Lord. You've got to groove when the spirit says groove.
Says groove.
Spirit says groove. Spirit says groove. Spirit says groove. Spirit says groove. Spirit says groove. Spirit says groove.
You got to rock when the spirit says rock. You got to rock when the spirit says rock. When the spirit says rock, you got to rock, oh Lord. You got to rock when the spirit says rock. 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 Check it. Yo, I had the call before I walk and now I do the 1-2 step. I heard the spirit and it said the groove, yeah. That's why I do my own shuffle, tapping feet, clapping hands. If you could talk, you could sing. If you could walk, you could dance. Spirit told me bless the track with the vocals, and I come around your city rocking with the locals. Fading out, got my eyes closed. I think the Lord talking to me, gotta get up all in my zone. Candle gazing after doing kundalini. I wrote it in my journal, trying to find the true meaning. It ain't gonna happen overnight, I really ain't stressing. I'ma get the blessing. I don't need Google directions, I just follow spirit. I think I start to hear it. The elders talk about alignment, I just start to get near it. Walk along the path, with or without a crew. When the spirit says do, I make it do what it do. Come on.
Do when the spirit says do.
Oh yeah.
You got to do.
Y'all know what it's like when the spirit says do. I mean, you just gotta do what it do. I know right now with some spirit talking to you inside.